everybody, it is the Credit Card Dad here. Today I want to talk to you not as some internet finance guy, but as a dad. As a fellow American who's honestly worried about where we're headed with credit card debt. Our national debt is something, we're about to hit $40 trillion at time of recording, but we have to think about our own households before we even worry about that. Right now in the United States, total credit card debt is over $1.2 trillion. The average balance per person with a credit card is about $6,700, and the average household owes around $11,000 just on credit cards. On top of that, we're seeing interest rates that are hovering around 20 to 22% for many cards. And so while we do talk about a lot of cards on the channel and pros and cons and using the perks, we got to be careful to not keep balances. It's a brutal combination to have high balances and high interest rates. So in this video, we're going to talk through how we got here, a quick history of how credit card debt ballooned in America, what the numbers look like today, and why they're especially dangerous right now. What does it mean for you and your family? What's the real world impact? We're going to talk about that. And finally, a game plan to get out of debt, step-by-step strategies. Legit resources that can help you, including nonprofit credit counseling. If you're carrying balances right now, this video is not here to shame you, absolutely not. Life is expensive, stuff happens. This is about getting you information, perspective, and a plan. Let's zoom out for a second. The Federal Reserve has been tracking consumer credit for decades. Back in the late 1960s, when they first started breaking out revolving credit, that's mostly credit cards. The total outstanding was just a tiny fraction of what it is now. It was not in vogue to use credit cards in the 1960s. Fast forward to early 2021, total U.S. credit card debt sat around $770 billion just a few short years ago. By late 2023, we crossed a historic line, over $1 trillion in credit card debt for the first time ever. By 2024, that number jumped yet again to about $1.17 trillion, and now we're at roughly $1.2 trillion. So what happened here? How did this happen? Easy credit and rewards. For years, banks pushed cards hard. Travel points, cashback, sign-up bonuses. We've heard it all here. We talk about it. All that stuff made spending on plastic feel normal and even smart. And if credit cards are used properly for the perks and paid off, it can be somewhat smart. We just have to be careful. Stagnant wages versus rising costs. At the same time, the cost of housing, healthcare, and education has climbed dramatically, much faster than many people's paychecks. When the budget doesn't stretch, the card comes out. There was some pandemic whiplash. During 2020 and 2021, people actually paid debt down using stimulus checks and reduced spending. Then inflation hit, rates went up, and a lot of folks started leaning on cards again for groceries, gas, and bills. High rates on top of high balances. Now, after the Fed's rate hikes, average card APRs are over 20%. Some store cards are well above that. It's like we've built a national habit of using credit cards as a safety net, except it's a safety net that charges 20 or 30% interest. Part of this too is you don't want to use a debit card necessarily anywhere. So you use the credit card, but you just got to pay it off at the end of each month. Let's look at what's going on right now. According to Experian, the average credit card balance in the U.S. was $6,730 as of Q3 2024, up 3.5% from the year before. By mid-2025, that average ticked up again to around $6,700 with APRs around 22%. Wallet Hub estimates the average household owes almost $11,000 in credit card debt. New York Fed reports overall household debt of about $18.6 trillion as of the latest quarter, and credit cards are one of the fastest growing pieces of that. Now, here's the part that really bothers me as a dad. The delinquencies, people falling behind on payments, have climbed the number of people. Credit card default rates are at their highest level since around 2010, and banks wrote off about $46 billion in bad card debt in just the first 9 months of 2024. Remember, 2010 was back during the subprime mortgage crisis. A news report found that the share of cardholders making only the minimum payment hit a record 10.75%. That is trouble if you can only make that minimum payment. That means a lot of families are barely treading water. Those are just the facts. Experian looked at an average balance of $6,600 with an average payment of $181 a month. At typical APRs, that payment only knocks out about 2.7% of the balance each month, basically just slightly more than the minimum. So paying the minimum doesn't mean that you're actually even paying anything off. In many cases, you're just treading water with the same balance. At 20 to 22% interest, if you only pay the minimum, you could end up paying thousands in interest and staying in debt for a decade or more. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau notes that many card issuers calculate interest daily based on your average daily balance, which makes those costs snowball if you carry a balance month to month. This is why the balances don't seem to move. Even though you're paying every month, it's that daily interest that keeps on hitting, and that minimum payment just won't cut it. What does this mean for real people? Let's drop the charts and talk about how this feels in real life. For a lot of families, credit card debt isn't about lavish vacations and luxury handbags. Many of these instances are people that are just using the cards to cover basic needs: food, rent, medical bills, car repairs, really necessities of life. So what does this debt do to the average person? Obviously, stress and anxiety. People in these studies talk about not sleeping, fighting with their spouse about money, feeling like failures, even though the bigger problem is the system that they're in. Relationships can end. The divorce rate can rise with these sorts of things. Delayed goals. Credit card bills crowd out saving for retirement, college, or even a small emergency fund. Experian notes that some Gen Xers, the sandwich generation supporting both kids and parents, are cutting retirement contributions just to keep up. Less resilience. When balances are maxed, there's no room for the next emergency. That's when people end up with payday loans. Oh man, those are horrible. Or late rent and utility shut-off notices, foreclosures, all that bad stuff. So if you're watching this and your cards are creeping up, I want you to hear this clearly. You are most certainly not alone. You are not a failure, but this will get worse if you don't put a plan in place. Think of this like telling your teenager not to text and drive. Are some kids going to be fine no matter what? Sure, but the risk is so high, it's not worth ignoring. Well, let's switch from problem to plan. I'm going to walk through a 5-step strategy that I'll share real organizations that can help if you feel stuck. Step 1. Get brutally honest with the numbers. Grab a notepad or spreadsheet and write down for each card. What's the lender name? What's the balance? What's the APR, the interest? What is the minimum payment? This essentially is your scoreboard. We can't win the game if we don't know the score. If you want help visualizing payoff timelines, use a credit card payoff calculator from a reputable source like Bankrate, the Dallas Fed, or a credit union tool. They're all online and they can help tremendously. Stop the bleeding. For at least a while, commit to no new debt. Put the cards away or freeze them. Literally, some people stick them in ice. Hide them almost so you can't use them. Turn off one-click online payments and saved card info where you can. There's a lot of impulse buying. I'm guilty of it myself, and just trying to limit that while you're on this plan. If you have essential bills you truly can't pay without the card, we'll talk about 211 and other resources in a minute. There may be help you don't know about yet. Step 3, pick a payoff strategy. Snowball versus avalanche. 2 classic methods. Debt snowball. Pay extra on the smallest balance first while paying minimums on the others. When that one is gone, roll that payment onto the next smallest. Pros. Big psychological wins early. Great if you need motivation. You see those small wins and the small wins add up. Debt avalanche. Pay extra on the highest interest rate first. Experts in consumer finance sites recommend either of these strategies. What matters is that you pick one and stick with it. If you're more of an emotional person who loves quick wins, start with snowball. If you're very numbers driven, go avalanche. Step 4, squeeze more cash flow without living on ramen. Or maybe live on ramen for a while. Hey, I lived on it in college and it worked out okay. Look for 3 types of wins. Cut subscriptions you forgot about, unused apps, streaming services you barely touched. Pay attention to what's going on those cards. There might be some charges that shouldn't even be there. They should be canceled. Pause retirement contributions temporarily if your situation is urgent and interest is 22%. It's like pulling weeds before planting flowers. Boost your income, side jobs, selling unused stuff, freelance work. Even $100 to $200 extra per month thrown at the highest priority card can dramatically shorten payoff times, as those payoff calculators will indeed show you. Step 5, call in reinforcements if you're overwhelmed. If your total debt is big enough that you're only making those minimums, as we talked about, you're getting collection calls, you're falling behind on rent or utilities, then it might be time to ask for help. And that's not weakness, my friends. That is wisdom. There are nonprofit credit counseling and debt management plans, DMPs. Organizations in the National Foundation for Credit Counseling Network offer nonprofit credit counseling and something called a debt management plan. Here's how it generally works. You talk one-on-one with a certified counselor who reviews your income, debts, and budget. If a DMP makes sense, they negotiate with your card issuers to try to lower interest rates and waive certain fees. You make one monthly payment to the agency, they pay your creditors for you. It's not a new loan, it's a structured repayment plan. This could be an option. It's not for everybody, but it can be a plan if you're just trying to figure out a resource. Some benefits can include lower rates, fewer fees, stopping of collection calls, and a clear payoff date. You can start at nfcc.org and look for an agency in your state. 211, local help with bills and essentials. If your biggest problem is that you can't cover rent, utilities, or food without using a credit card, 211 might be an option for you, a nationwide helpline run by the United Way and local partners. In 2024 alone, they fielded over 16 million requests for help. They can connect you with rental assistance, utility bill help, food banks and nutrition programs, job training, and more. You can call 211 from most phones or visit 211.org online. Getting help with those essentials, it might free up money so that you can stop putting survival on a credit card. Another option, a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. The CFPB has solid, non-salesy information on how credit card interest works, how minimum payments are calculated, and what your rights are as a credit card holder. You can check out their credit card basics pages, educational tools on minimum payments and payoff timelines, and how to handle issues with a specific card issuer. As a dad, here's what scares me most. We're raising kids in a world where 5-figure credit card balances look normal. We're paying 20% interest on groceries doesn't even raise eyebrows anymore. It's normal. If we keep going like this, a whole generation is going to be working for the banks instead of building their own future. But here is the hopeful part. You don't have to be perfect with money to change your direction. It just takes financial discipline. Just have to stop drifting and start steering. So if you're carrying balances right now, write down your numbers, pick snowball or avalanche, cut or earn a little extra, and throw it at the debt. Maybe try out NFCC or 211 if you need some backup assistance. Don't stop believing. You can absolutely turn this around. I've seen families do it. My own family is one of them. It's not instant and it's not easy, but it is worth it. If this video helped you, do me a favor, hit like so YouTube knows people need to see this. Subscribe for more straight talk dad style videos on using credit cards without letting them use you. And if you're comfortable, drop a comment below with one step you're going to take this week, even if it's just I wrote down all my balances. You're not alone in this. I'm rooting for your family and honestly for our country too. I'm Credit Card Dad. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you in the next one.